All right, everyone, it's time to go live. Let's make sure we're live over on Rumble. You never know, but I do believe that everything is working out fine over there. Probably should mute my audio just in case. If I'm a little bit throaty today, the pine trees are, doing the dirty again and having sex with one another, and I'm allergic to their sperm. So, there's the reason why. This morning, I was all like, I kept having to clear my throat in between videos and stuff like that. I'm very allergic to pine pollen. Never a problem in the Netherlands, where I'm going to be in a few days, right after the pine trees here are done mating, by the way, right as they're done doing the deed. Then all of a sudden, I'm in a place where there are no pine trees. But yeah, it'll be all good. And then everything will clear up instantaneously. We are on Trump trial verdict watch today. Just to be clear, it is possible that we get a verdict while we're live here. That is a possibility. Unlikely. I would think probably later in the afternoon, possibly tomorrow. They could stretch on. They've asked the judge for, they've submitted another number of letters to the judge. I think they're on letter number 4 now, requesting additional transcripts and things of that nature, which shows that deliberations are ongoing. Again, my suspicion is that you end up with a hung jury and that you end up with Alvin Bragg then needing to make the decision whether to go forward and attempt to retry. And the reason why is because I would assume that by now you would have had a verdict if there wasn't some discussion and disagreement going on among the jurors. The longer that it goes on, the more likely you get a hung jury. It's possible, though, that at any given moment we get either not guilty or guilty, or some other decision by that jury. So we're taking a look at that. I'll be pretty much monitoring the news the entire day. I have no choice. It's literally my job. We're going to have to at least make a one-off video when the verdict comes in, if not a live stream, potentially an extra one. I was almost hoping it would be yesterday. It's like, okay, they've deliberated for 3 or 4 hours. Everything's cut and dry. It's going to be guilty or not guilty. And so I was hoping that it would be yesterday so I could just get it over with. I'm looking forward to the verdict because it helps Trump no matter what the verdict is. And it inspires political chaos, whatever the verdict is. But we'll be taking a look at that. In fact, let me get this up on the side here and make sure I've got a live updating page. Yes, this is live updating. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more. We've also got to talk about J.K. Rowling. She did an op-ed, exclusive book extract. J.K. Rowling, why I decided to stand up for women. Good for you. You've been cast off as far right for believing that women have rights. That's where we've gotten as a modern society. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. We've got a new poll out of Virginia from Roanoke, and they're typically reliable, showing that Biden and Trump may be tied in the state of Virginia for the purposes of the election. This is not what Biden wants to hear. You have an old poll from Mason-Dixon that showed Biden at +6. That would be roughly what we would expect in a normal election. There is nothing normal about this election. It's completely abnormal. From top to bottom, everything about it is chaos. So we'll be talking about that as well. We have an opinion piece here. This is by David Axelrod of CNN. This is a TDS-suffering liberal, although more prosaic than some of them, castigating Robert De Niro for his stunt outside of the Trump trial courtroom. And the other day I was like, this completely fumbled. It made no sense. Nothing about it made sense in any way. Indeed, it appears even the liberal media understands this was not a good idea. It's a Hail Mary pass, as I explained before, and they got it wrong. They fumbled. The son of Sam Killer will be denied parole. I'm sure that comes as literally no surprise to him. The .44 caliber killer, David Berkowitz. He is, how many times has he been denied parole now? I think like 12 fucking times or something like that. So he'll stay in prison. It's probably for the best. We'll be talking about some serial killer stuff. And also, Florida fossil porcupine solves a prickly dilemma 10 million years in the making. We've got differential porcupine genetic development. Very interesting. I like to sprinkle a little bit of science in because, sometimes I love politics. I love current events. I like talking about them. I'm glad to share those moments with all of you out there who pay attention to live streams. But sometimes, by God, there's got to be something else other than politics. Sometimes it becomes bullshit. Let's see. We got Sparky. Greetings, fearless leader. Greetings to you as well. And Webster's Wares over on Rumble. Good morning, Sticks and fellow clankers. Good morning to you also. Kaz and Simon, hi from UK. Off topic, we got married this week. Well, congratulations to you. May it be a long and happy marriage. See, there's some white pills. So yeah, 56 seconds ago, the reading of testimony is finished and jurors are returning to deliberate. The foreperson indicated the jurors, it's 4-man, but would like both headphones and a speaker to listen to recordings that are in evidence. So they're probably listening to the Cohen call right now. The problem being that the Cohen recording kind of undermines the prosecution's actual case. So we'll see what happens. Don't read too much into any of this flashing news, because I mean, how many updates they have in just the last hour? Like 6 updates here. This is AP talking about Laura Trump. Several jurors are heads down taking notes. Ooh, they're taking notes about the instructions. It's totally abnormal. Jurors rehear instructions relating to Michael Cohen's testimony. Judge Merchan, rereading the same instructions he gave jurors on Wednesday, said, under our law, Michael Cohen is an accomplice, and a defendant can't be convicted of any crime based only on the testimony of an accomplice unless it is supported by corroborative evidence. Why do I get the feeling that several of those jurors lean in favor of not guilty? Yeah, this is just one of many instructions the judge is rereading for the jury. I mean, you would think the case is abnormal. The actions of the jurors, though, and the judge, to an extent at least, are not abnormal given the outstanding nature of this particular case. So we'll be seeing what happens with that. I mean, we could literally get a verdict at any time. It could come in the next 5 minutes for all I know. So I'm a little bit distracted today. If I seem a little bit distracted, it's because I am paying attention to the live updates for the Trump trial. We are on verdict watch. We could get one today. I would say it's a fairly good chance that we get one today. The bonus holes. Elon Musk is a penis head. 30 denied ban appeals within an 8-hour period. Yeah, Twitter is doing better than it was under like Agrawal, but it's definitely not a perfect system. So if anyone can help the bonus holes, if you happen to have like the ear of somebody at Twitter, and you can just sort of sweep this under the rug and get them unbanned, that would be appreciated. Do me. I love magic mushrooms. Yeah, so does Super Mario. They make his penis bigger. I've taken Amanita and like psilocybin. I was a fan of the former, not of the latter. I'm not really into psilocybin. I haven't used psychedelics in a very long time, but when I was using them many years ago in college, psilocybin, I preferred LSD. Simple Logic 90, you and Benny Johnson, as cringe as he is, has been on this. Very glad to have such good information. Yeah, we're going to get probably quick information at some point today. It could happen when we're live, or it could be that I have to go live later. Wasted Bonehead, good morning from the grave. A bit extra from all the streams I missed. Thank you very much. I'm getting otherwise would be Democratic Party contributions. Since you're dead, you have to vote for Joe Biden. Trump exits the courtroom 32 seconds ago, or thereabouts. I mean, it's semi-live updating. What they should do is they should put this on Twitter. We'll be keeping an eye on it. Don't worry. If the verdict comes in, my God, I expect like 10,000 people will suddenly comment. Senor Faces, in June 1st, I'll be 26 años at the first day of the hurricane season, thanks to Obama, first day of Corp Pride Month. Sticks Fumo plush as a gift. Sorry, I cannot give you a Fumo plush as a gift for your 26th birthday. Very, very sad. Sparky, Sticks, be careful not to be charged with scientific heresy like in Planet of the Apes, 1968. Ryan McDonald, USA, Biden not on Ohio ballot? How does convention go? It'll go off without a hitch. It doesn't mean anything. And they'll probably scrap it together anyway, so. No, Biden is the presumptive Dem nominee. He doesn't have any competitors at this point. He would have to stand down if he wanted anything else. Gabagool, NATO weapons controlled by Ukraine striking military targets in Russia. Meaningful escalation or desperation on NATO's part? This is the start of World War III? No, that does not start World War III. If I sell a person a gun and they shoot someone with it, it doesn't mean that I end up in a shootout with the person I sold the gun to. And there's the deniability in there. Again, I've got pine tree sperm in my respiratory system. I apologize if I cough or have to clear my throat. It's terrible. Wasted bonehead. So then how much I got to pay you to eat a scorpion with some ketchup on it? I got $100 the other time. It was pretty great. I'll get some other interesting dried insects and eat them with ketchup or something like that. Don't worry. Stay tuned. That's just something. I'm not going to make that a regular fixture of the show, but putting ketchup on unorthodox things and eating it and getting paid to do so, yeah, I can deal with that. Absolutely. People are paying me. Tristan Williams, hey Sticks, longtime viewer, currently driving to Missouri for CBRN training. Thanks for the years of entertainment. Cheers. Cheers to you as well. Good luck on your training. Do right by the clankdom. BW, so you were thinking that it's a good thing Biden is like Plankton off of SpongeBob instead of the Baron off of Dune in your De Niro video one of the other morning. Yeah, I think it's good that Joe Biden is incompetent and demented, because if he were coherent, if he were able to make his pitches more ably to the public, he could win over more people and sell them evil, sell them snake oil. The fact that he's not well-spoken and he's fucking demented makes it harder for him to be evil. And yes, I do believe that's a good thing. Ryan McDonald, USA. J.K. Rowling has some base tweets and trolls lefties. Yeah, let's get to that. Again, I will be paying attention to the verdict, the awaiting the verdict thing, but we do have other news to cover. J.K. Rowling, why you decided to stand up for women. In exclusive extracts from a new book, The Women Who Wouldn't Wheeshed. This must be a British term. I don't know what that means. WHEESHT. Wheeshed. Maybe she made it up. The Harry Potter author, a broken-hearted mother, and a former prison governor tell the inside story of their fight for rights. Yes, J.K. Rowling has been sort of on the forefront of this at the moment. And she's gotten more than her fucking 15 minutes of fame, by the way. Even after the apex of Harry Potterdom. J.K. Rowling believes that women exist. Women's rights are therefore of import. You don't want to deprive 50% of your population of their right to be left alone, do the things that they want to do, and be safe and comfortable and so forth. This has morphed into a right-wing position somehow. I consider J.K. Rowling a vapid leftist. She's in favor of mass migration. She's presumptively not in favor of gun rights, being British. She's in favor of a welfare state and all these other far left things. She's basically a socialist on these issues. But she's cast off as being far right simply because she acknowledges the existence of her own gender. And it's hilarious to me. I mean, well, it's equal parts. On one token, it's hilarious because it's like, okay, the left is cannibalizing their fellow leftists because of one niche issue, which is whether there are Tumblr genders or whether there aren't Tumblr genders, basically. So it's funny. On the other hand, it's kind of sad because it's like, you have a person who's fighting for your cause. I mean, I don't agree with those causes, but you're fighting for that cause for an extended, protracted period of time. And then the people that you're fighting for are telling you that you're terrible, that you're a monster because you have one difference of opinion with them on the topic of gender. And she's not even fighting about gender identity. Of course, identity-wise, you can be whatever you want. Cross-dress, you can fucking wear a skirt, you can fucking wear a suit, who gives a shit? If you're consenting adults, do whatever you want in the bedroom. Have a goddamn orgy. Go to Five Guys and have 5 guys in a row, perfectly fine. It's nobody's business but yours what you're doing. But when you begin predating upon people, using that cultural ethos as a facade to cover for yourself, so you're claiming that you're LGBTQ plus 123 IOU MAP, if you know what I mean, and you're using that to go into the girls' locker room for malevolent purposes, that becomes a problem. It's exactly what I explained way back in fucking 2014, 2015 or thereabouts. The real problem is going to be about people that take advantage of that movement in order to predate. So a dude can walk into the woman's bathroom because he's got a shitting fetish and there's nothing that anybody can do about it in certain states. I conceive of this as wrong. I consider it predatory behavior. J.K. Rowling understands this. Supposedly, understanding that there could be a problem there makes you far right. Erasing women's sports is woke. It's the flavor of the week is erasing women from sports, where men who have greater musculature, who tend to have greater stamina, it's a biological reality. Generally speaking, there are exceptions, of course, enter into women's sports, and all of a sudden they go from the bottom of their league to, you know, an Olympian through no actual talent of their own, simply because they said, well, you know, I feel different. I feel it in my head. J.K. Rowling is cast off as being like a hyper conservative. God damn, she's in favor of limitless migration. Like, I could never stand by J.K. Rowling and stand for 99% of her views. The one view that she has that I conceive of as sane is the one that really gets other people ticked off, and I just find it hilarious. I had to cover this. It makes absolutely no sense in any way. These people are nuts, by the way, strategically speaking. I mean, you're alienating a person who would donate large sums of money and have a big voice and help your cause. You're alienating her for the purposes of all of these other issues because you've got that one hang up. Sir Smokey sent $5. No comment. Thank you anyway. Sparky, stop blowing trees. Yeah, no, I'm being raped by pine trees. I mean, I should start a Me Too case against them. I should demand that the town of Rutland destroy all of the pine trees in the area for my pleasure. This is basically what happens with leftoids all the time. So maybe I should take a leaf out of their book, or a pine bough out of their book, rather. Rick Rod 95, ever considered doing an occult vid on optimistic nihilism? Matt Walsh tackled this topic, but he said a whole lot of nothing aside from return to God. The idea that nothing matters and that's a good thing, yeah, I could cover it. It's not really a cult, but, you know, it sort of ties into human spiritual systems. Yeah, I guess I could cover that. Tigers are my totem. $5. No comment. Thank you. Dat Pie over there. A few quartering streams ago, he had a guest that brought up a concerning statistic that 90% of users on OnlyFans are married men. God help the fertility rate. Well, they might still be banging their wife, but I mean, is it going to boost their fertility if porn goes away? No, they're still going to be uninclined, so it doesn't make any difference. Sparky. Russian radar station taken out ostensibly to defend Ukraine was taken out for Israel, as it would warn Iran of an Israeli attack. World War III-ish. Yeah, I mean, I am concerned about what's going on both in Russia v. Ukraine and Israel v. Gaza. It is of concern. We are not inevitably headed towards a world war at this time, though, thankfully. But I do have a stack of MREs, and I do have potassium iodide. And I do have a lot of guns and ammo and stuff like that around. There's a reason for that. It's not just LARPing. Always be prepared. You hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. And then if the worst happens, you know, you're probably okay. Let's see. BW. Do you think Trump will immediately appeal and then be in prison while he appeals? I fear for his life in prison. Secret Service could always fail. It's going to be real difficult if he's convicted to put him in a prison. They haven't even grappled with the logistics of doing that physically. Wasted Bonehead Sticks. How come Stolas gets a plush, but not you? What the fuck is this bullshit? Yeah, I actually got another Stolas the other day from Hexenwitch. I'll be showing that off soon. Shout out coming. Absolutely. It's pretty cool. She's makes creepy dolls of various sorts, and Stolas is one of them. The man behind the screen. Good morning, Sticks and Clankers. Make great progress on my first novella, halfway through the final edits. Any advice on formatting for publishing, Sticks? Would love to send a copy once it's done. Clank. It depends on the trim size and everything else. You'll have to do that. You have to kind of learn that on the fly. My first few entries were bullshit in format compared to the ones that I make now. It can be difficult. And also it depends on the program that you're using. Those have different instructions. Webster's Wares. Who knew men made the best women? Fucking clown world. Wasted Bonehead. Raped by pine trees? He deserves it. Look at what that skank is wearing. Yeah. I know, I'm dressed. I'm asking for it. You know, the pine trees, I don't know. They have a thing for that. Mandorian. It feels weird that they're going after Trump now. it's legally speaking, this breaks all precedents, both the underpinning of this specific case and the fact that it's a former president for the very first time in our nation being prosecuted at all. It does not matter what the outcome is. It will still be precedent setting. It will still be probably the most meaningful political trial in U.S. history. So it doesn't really matter what happens. You found guilty, not guilty, hung jury, whatever. There will be chaos. There will be demonstrations by one side or the other, and possibly both. Like, let's say he's found guilty, but then the judge says, well, we can't put him in a prison cell. It's not physically possible because the Secret Service is a thing. We're going to put him under house arrest at the Mar-a-Lago or give him a big fine, which he can pay by selling one building or something like that. The liberals will still riot. Oh my God, you're giving him deferential treatment. He's a felon. You should lock him up. We want to see him in cuffs. The story writes itself. We know that there's going to be chaos. It doesn't matter what happens. Let me refresh this and see if there are any updates. The reading of testimony is finished and jurors are returning to deliberate. And Trump and his attorneys are waiting in a separate room nearby, as they did throughout the trial. So right now we don't have any real updates. But we are on verdict watch. It is meaningful. Let me read out our merch partners, well, sponsors, before I continue, by the way. For those of you who are clanking on this live stream, we have multiple links in the description to various sites where you can get some Styx Hexenhammer related stuff and other good things as well that are simply fucking great. We have pumpkinfirecrafts.us where you can get bookmarks, keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons with the Ouroboros logo and clank and things like that, as well as amulets. That's what I call them. Technically necklaces, but amulets are 10 times cooler, so that's what they're being branded as, because everyone needs an amulet, you know? I've got one right here, but it ain't from Pumpkin Fire. Actually, I think I have several here. I've got an assortment of eclectic things on my workspace here. Should probably clean it off at some point. Make sure to use code STIX, by the way, for a discount. Also, BiltongUSA.com. Yes, Anton can hook you up with the latest and greatest meat. He's experimenting with kangaroo, possibly at the moment. Elk, venison, bison, it's all there. I ate half of that bag of bison, by the way, the other day while gardening. And again, use code STIX for a discount. You get free shipping on your order at BiltongUSA.com. We've also got mugs, shirts, and tumblers available with my particular logo. We have wickedneedleembroidery.bigcartel.com, where you can get a hat similar to this, but with the Ouroboros logo. Styx Hexen hats, everyone could use one. You're gardening, you can keep your hair back a little bit, you know, keep the sun off of your face. Slightly important, as I've learned throughout many years of gardening. So wickedneedleembroidery.bigcartel.com. We have heritageheirloomseedcompany.com, where you can get a seed survival bucket. I know that it's late in the growing season, depending on the hemisphere that you're in. And the local climate, but you can get basically seed survival going, and they germinate very well, high quality. They're all heirloom. The tomatoes are spectacular, as well as the cucumbers. The hot weather crops specifically have outperformed my expectations, and it ain't just the soil stratum. The quality of the seed matters. There's also the Styx Hexenhammer soap box available, where you can get my own brand of soap, yes, with the Ouroboros logo on its wrapping. It is clove, cedar, and blueberry, and it's one of the best things that I've ever smelled in my life, actually. I wish I could eat it, but I don't think that's a good idea. We have websterswares.com/Styx-wares, where you can get metal straws, you can get knives, you can get an assortment of Styx Hexen products. Use code STIX there as well for your discount, of course. There's also non-Styx merch, so Trump merch. There's miscellany again. They've got these fire starters. I'm going to gas one of these up and test it out, actually. I'm interested. There are several different varieties. I'm wondering if there's any difference in the reliability. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I got to try them out. So I need to buy lighter fluid. We've got jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com, the land of delicious Styx-endorsed coffees and teas. The Costa Rica blend, definitely the favorite coffee that I've ever had. No offense to any other creator who has a coffee line, but I think I'll stick with Jam and Bean. I mean, with their coffee existing, I don't need to make my own brand. It's not going to be better. It'll probably be inferior. So I'll keep guzzling it down. You need a lot of caffeine in this line of work, by the way. MTPew, that is MTPEW.com, the land of bearded grizzly ammunition. There's range brass and there's newly manufactured various pistol and rifle calibers, 45, 9mm, 223, 5.56, 40 Smith & Wesson, and so forth. And so you can get your ammunition. Everyone should have a little bit more stacked, I think. We're going into some troubled waters as a country. And finally, brickmuseum.com. Make sure to visit their page and see sort of what they're about. It's in Blair, Ohio, and it's like a Lego museum. It's huge. And it's basically, if you liked Legos as a kid, basically it's like going to heaven. Just looking at the pictures, I'm thinking, wow, you know, I need to get my ass over there at some point. They're open through August, actually. They are open, and so you can get your tickets now. Those are our sponsors. Yes, indeed. Sir Link, what would happen if the judge reads a guilty verdict, but the paper says there was a written acquittal or holdout? Who verifies the paper he reads out? That's all filed in court documents, so that would be fairly evident. That's not a worry. Stephen Nizek, in commemoration of the upcoming 20th anniversary of the film Team America, can I wish a happy Where Dicks to the once and hopefully future President Trump on this fine verdict watch morning? Yeah, you can. Thank you. Yep. Louis Day, here's my 2 cents. Literally, $10 is about 2 cents per video I've watched. Cheers from Montreal. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Montreal's pretty cool. Go to the Biodome sometime. The Biodome is great. Not a banned account. What are the odds Trump is jailed for something? Very low. I'm not sure what methodology exists by which you can put a former president with a Secret Service detail in a jail cell. I don't know how logistically they would even handle it. You'll note that he violated several gag orders after being told explicitly he might go to a jail cell if he didn't, if he kept fucking around, and he was never put in a cell. Jesse 1234, top 5 Biden campaign messages. 1, democracy will die. 2, Beau Biden died. 3, my house burnt down. 4, student loan forgiveness. 5, what am I saying? And number 6, oh shit, come on, man. I'm going to make you do push-ups. Not a banned account. Everyone knows Trump must be guilty of something. That's why they're throwing the book at him with regards to the charges. The whole point is to convince the jury in the absence of evidence, hey, he must be guilty of something. We'll give him a symbolic charge. BW, I hear that the Secret Service was looking into jail arrangements in the Post or something. Yeah, good luck. That's going to be difficult logistically. Webster's Wares. Good morning, clankers from Endicott, Washington. Free shipping using code STICKS at websterswares.com. When Trump's verdict is announced, we will have a new clanker code, Innocent Trump, for 40% off site-wide. Interesting. Wasted Bonehead Sticks. Thoughts on Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, and other Christian cults? Do you have any videos on them? Yeah, the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons have both tried to convert me, actually. It didn't go over too well. The Jehovah's Witnesses haven't been here lately. Could it be because when I showed up at the door, I was in full goth attire and said this house belongs to Satan? Well, that might have had something to do with it. Oh, God, I was laughing myself. One thing, though, when they came to the door, I had my pentagram on the table, but I didn't realize it was the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm like, God damn, if I had only had that on to complete the look, it would have been so much cooler. Pumpkin Fire Crafts. Good morning, Sticks and Clankers. Currently working on a biker wallet with a chain by Clanker Request. Just finished making the pattern. Mugs for Father's Day being added later today. 10% off applies to entire site. Excellent. And John Marafa. Total acquittal is the only way injustice loses. I do agree with that. I mean, I would vote for acquittal if I were on the job, but I mean, I support Trump and don't think he did anything wrong. Oh, we do have an update. Trump posts online while the jury deliberates. This is what he posted on Truth Social a few minutes ago. I did nothing wrong. In fact, I did everything right, he wrote on Truth Social. The testimony in court was amazing for the defense. I tend to agree with that, generally speaking. Based on the questions that they are asking the judge, I think that somebody may lean towards acquitting him. If he does get acquitted, then, you know, this is going to be a red letter day. Watching the left melt down, oh, I hope. If the jury only knew, basically it's like, imagine that you're lighting the fuse to like a chain of atomic weapons. That's the fireworks that you get if you acquit Donald Trump. It's the funniest of all possible outcomes, and I am hoping for it. But somehow a guilty verdict or a hung jury, They're not surprising. No particular outcome is surprising and would still be amusing. So I can't lose. We've got new polling, by the way, everyone, while we wait for potential verdict. And again, later on this afternoon, if a verdict does come in, I might be out in the garden. I will try to get in as quickly as possible and at least make a one-off video if we do get a verdict at all. We have new polling from the state of Virginia. Biden was handily ahead, according to the very scattered polls we had back in winter. But now it is May, and the new Roanoke College poll shows a dead heat, 42-42, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. By the way, this shows a reduction in Biden support based on the limited polling. It does not show a significant increase in Trump's polling. It simply says Biden is falling off a cliff. If I pair this with the national polling, so Biden's approval versus disapproval, et cetera, since winter, yeah, it would make sense. By the way, Virginia being a swing state is probably not something that Biden imagined would happen. I don't think that he has the gift of foresight, so to speak. I think the Democrats are panicking. This is the third poll, well, technically fourth poll, in fairly short order in only a couple of short weeks, showing the possibility of Donald Trump being competitive in states where he didn't win before. Minnesota, New Hampshire, Maine, and now Virginia. We now have that poll as well. If any of those states become the zero-sum game, where Biden has to claw his way upward in order to maintain a point or two advantage in a state that has been fairly blue for a significant period of time. New Hampshire, I think it was in 1980 or something was the last time it went for the Republicans or something like that. It's actually, no, it was a little bit later than that. It's been more than 20 years. It's been a long time. I think Al Gore won it, maybe, or was it before Gore? I can't remember, but it was a long time ago. Anyway, I mean, I know a lot about political history, but sometimes these people run together. Like Al Gore, Kerry, what's the difference? They sound the same. Bush Kerry, Bush McCain. There's a problem with the Uniparty. But you would not expect under normal circumstances to have a tied poll in a state that's been leaning blue, not heavily, but leaning blue and moving more blue over time. It's sort of like with Georgia. Georgia, the Democrats began taking it for granted and said, well, it's becoming a blue state. Well, I mean, Trump's what, 5-6 points ahead in Georgia right now? It's probably unachievable. North Carolina, another great example. Arizona was moving more blue. Now it's snapped back in the other direction. Some of the polls in Nevada have Donald Trump ahead by double digits. I don't know exactly what's going on because even when I apply the shit economy and all the other problems that Biden is making, the demographics of these states supposedly would be sort of, top tier as far as determining who wins them. But even despite that, it's moving in Trump's advantage basically across the board. There's no state in which he doesn't have more of an advantage or more of a capability than he did in 2016. Over the course of that now near 8-year period, Donald Trump has grown his advantage across the board in all of those states. And it seems elsewhere as well. You saw the New Jersey, the Wildwood rally. Trump 2016 probably wouldn't have gotten 80,000, 100,000 people at a rally in New Jersey. There was enthusiasm, but it was more core enthusiasm. It wouldn't have trickled down to other echelons of society. So Biden is now apparently going to have to campaign heavily in Virginia as well. And I'm sure he doesn't want to do that. Sir Link, if it's hung, when can they retry him? Well, that's up to Alvin Bragg. He can retry the case, or he can say, well, mistrial, I'm just going to drop the case. We'll see what happens. I'm 50-50 on that. His ego will say, prosecute him again. Reality at some point kicks in and he says, well, why would I expect that the next jury wouldn't be hung too? If I do this too many times, then I destroy my reputation. Maybe it's time to step back. And a follow-up, was the jury sequestered during this trial? Yeah, I do not believe they were, no. Sparky, Newsom Kushner 24. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. SRC Maker, sup, bro? I'm back. Long time no see. You still use the Easter Bunny's gift Inspiron laptop. Yes, indeed. I do still have that laptop. It still works perfectly well. So technically, I've got three. I've got the Alienware, I've got the Victus, and then I've got the Inspiron that you sent. And I thank you very much for that. That was definitely a major gift. It was definitely important. Charles Warrington, what are the chances if a jury doesn't come up with a verdict? Well, yeah, I mean, there could be no verdict on either individual charges or on them all, but they're all linked. So I have a feeling that it's either guilty on all, acquitted on all, or just hung jury in general. We can't decide any form of guilt, and Merchan's instructions don't necessarily help the case. On appeal, he'll be thrown out regardless, though, so it doesn't matter if they find him guilty. I'm hoping for acquittal. I'm expecting hung jury. I could be wrong. That's the long and short of it. I was thinking the other day, imagine you're in New York. Okay, you've been convened for this jury. Your friends and family know that you've been convened for the jury. They're not stupid. They know what trial you're a juror on. They're all going to have some expectations there. Some of them have Trump derangement syndrome. Some of them could be Republicans. And so for any given juror, you have a potential failure of an inability to make a verdict at all, because they're like, okay, on the one hand, my whole family hates Trump. They want me to find him guilty. They're saying, wow, you have the ability to punish Trump. Wow, this is great. Your kids are all happy because they've been indoctrinated. Your wife is promising you head and shit like that. But then you've also been told by the legacy media that there are 50+ million Trump fans out there with a lot of guns that really want to kill you. And you don't want to exacerbate the situation. I have a feeling it'll be a hung jury. The Emperor's Champion. Trump's trial makes me wonder how many innocent people Comrade Judge Merchan put in prison. That ought to be looked into. Yeah, should be a bit of a legal audit there, actually. Let's see. God, that's a lot of comments. I'm trying to get through the news. BW, thanks for the cheer up, Sticks. Now I'm crying laughing, thinking about the look on those Jehovah's Witnesses' faces. Oh, yeah, it was great, let me tell you. Blutreich, are we going to see a deluge of AI deepfake election year smear jobs? You're already seeing them. Yeah, that'll be a thing. Sigilstone, didn't Merchan say he'd overrule in the case of not guilty? And next time a YouTuber files off, make sure he's not neglecting his kids before defending his drug possession. Yes, I realize that Rekieta has been blamed for child neglect. I will wait for that case to play out because I don't believe in assuming guilt before it's proven that there's some guilt involved. I hold to my beliefs, though. I believe that mere drug possession in and of itself should be legal. And no, Merchan cannot overrule a not guilty verdict. He can do a directed verdict only in favor of the defense. That's not the way that the court works. Wasted Bonehead. I once got a knock on the door by a Jehovah's Witness. There was a female tennis game on in the background. I offered to let them join an orgy I was throwing. They never came by again. Trolling them is fun. Cultivated mind. Sticks, because you asked. The methodology of action in the cordyceps mushroom is a compound called cordyceptin, a nucleoside that facilitates the production of ATP, the body's molecular unit of energy. Yeah, I know about the Krebs cycle and stuff like that. Yeah, radiant energy, by the way. I get them for free. You got to buy it if you want that stuff. It's really good. And I like how it doesn't have like a foul flavor or something like that. I was wondering by what methodology it works. I think, is it reishi or chaga that is also indicated potentially in suppressing cancerous growths, actually? I'm pretty sure one of those is, I think it's chaga, if I remember correctly. So yeah, wasted bonehead. Hung, that's how Sigil likes his women. You like them bony. Sigil Stone, Bonehead admitting on Twitter he fucks penguins. Watching Happy Feet awoke something in him. Cam2425IA, clanking and shit. Wasted Bonehead, Sigil comments is way out of context. Go to my Twitter and you'll see he's full of shit. Poop fetish, yeah, I know. We've discussed that. Now we've got to talk about something else. Oh, quickly, we'll refresh this and see, is there any... No, there's no new updates. Again, we're on verdict watch, so we got to pay close attention to that. Opinion, the role Robert De Niro should have turned down. This is about his spiel the other day outside of the Trump trial when they're beginning to get ready to convene in the closing arguments. And Robert De Niro, of course, actor. He's had a long legacy of movie roles, coming out to stump for Biden, basically. And he claimed that if Trump was reelected, democracy would die, New York City will burst into flames, and all these other crazy things. And my analysis, between the heckling and his combative attitude and the fact that nobody gives a fucking shit what this old rich celebrity says anyway, it was a fumble. It was a bad move by the Biden administration. It was a bad move by De Niro. I mean, I guess you're drumming up attention for a new movie, I guess, or something along those lines, I think. But nobody gives a fuck about your opinion. It was just like the celebrity supercut that you saw in 2016. You remember, I think De Niro was actually on that one too. You remember when the list of celebrities there were begging people not to vote for Donald Trump? Oh my God, you'd be terrible. Democracy will die. World War III, economic downturns, collapse, depressions, cats and dogs living together, hailstorms and fire and brimstone, and all of these other things. What did the American public do? Completely ignored them. It became such cringe fodder. It became itself a meme. And more people saw the memes about the fact that the Democrats trotted this bullshit out than saw the original video. I mean, I hate watched it once, through the cringe. I was actually able to stand it, and I give myself credit for being able to withstand that level of cringe. I'm 99% sure De Niro was one of them. I mean, he's had TDS from day one, which is interesting, because they were probably friends before Trump ran for office. This is a repeat facet of modern politics. People who were very friendly with Trump all of a sudden hated him the second he decided to become president of the United States. The thing is that De Niro, he doesn't have a reputation to tarnish, and he's an old man and nobody cares. He's already made a bunch of movies, so he's got all the money, he's got the fame, he's got the star in Hollywood and stuff like that. That's not a problem for him. But really, you hurt the administration that you're trying to prop up by virtue of your combative attitude. This is exactly the sort of thing we saw in 2016 that led a lot of regular average Joe people to say, well, Hillary Clinton, all of these people that I don't like are standing up for and basically trying to tell me off and tell me that I'm less intelligent than them. You're doing the same thing. You're actually harming the Biden administration in the process. Very interesting. Helpful, but interesting. Sir Link, why Lolberts worship Ross Ulbricht? I bet he made just a website. I get he made just a website, yeah, but it was a website for black market stuff, trafficking illegal corn and hitmen. Yeah, but he didn't break the law. That's like saying I have a convention center and a convicted murderer walked into the convention center. That doesn't mean that I endorse the convicted murderer. It means that I have a convention center that is open for them to inhabit at that time. Joe, fuck Jehovah's Witnesses, literally, anally. They might be into that, some of them. I don't know. Do they have any sexual mores? I know that they won't do blood transfusions, but does period sex count? Who knows? Sir Link, the guy isn't benign. It sucks because it detracts from legal pardons that should happen like Snowden and Assange. Strange hill to die on. Iron Age Media, hail, Sticks, hope you're doing well. I'll be sending you issues 3 and 4 of Anvil. Thank you, I can't wait. Speaking of, clankers who love to read might enjoy Anvil magazine for a great variety of indie genre fiction. Yeah, that's going to be pretty great. Should get Razorfist a copy too. He loves like magazines, stuff like that. OMG puppies. I talked to a Jehovah's Witness, a 70-year-old black man with an encyclopedic knowledge of the Bible. They're Adventists. No one goes to heaven or hell. Some resurrected to live in Eden. Eden bookends the Bible. Yeah, also originally the Jehovah's Witnesses, if I remember correctly, were a doomsday cult. I think they abandoned that when they realized doomsday didn't come on multiple occasions. Alex Bogey, would you possibly be interested in debating my Christian buddy who runs a channel called Nerd Fights? He can't find an atheist for a debate. Lol. Well, I'm not an atheist, so from that perspective, no, I can't defend that position. I'm not an atheist. I'm an apatheist. I don't care about the God issue, so... Alex Bogey, De Niro should be in Godfather 4, Biden crime family. Be funny. Berkowitz was denied parole. We'll be talking briefly about some serial killers. Reader question. Does the jury decision have to be unanimous? If one juror says not guilty, is it not guilty from all? Yes. The answer is yes. It must be unanimous. There is some confusion. Let me explain. Merchan's order with regard to the trial itself on unanimity the other day, his instructions to them, only applies to the underlying cause of why the charges would exist. This is a legal problem, and on appeal, it would probably be goddamn laughed at. The underlying, he's not instructing the jury that they have to be unanimous for them to find guilt or not guilty or anything like that. That is set in stone. Merchan can't overrule it. What he told the jury was you don't have to agree on the underlying crime that was committed being covered up to create that unanimity. So if 6 jurors say he covered up this crime and 5 of them say this other one, and one of them agrees that he committed a crime, but it was the third one, that would be accepted as a unanimous verdict. By the way, this is legally laughable. This means that Donald Trump will walk. He is not going to actually go to prison. Upon appeal, he would be exonerated. What we're waiting for is seeing whether they take sort of Merchan's bait, which is also a legal Hail Mary because it has no precedent, makes no sense legally, and I believe there's a binding Supreme Court decision banning this very practice that Merchan is completely overlooking. The problem is that until you get the verdict, you can't overrule, appeal, or anything else. A court can do effectively whatever the hell it wants. They can make up their own rules. Only when they're legally considered by a higher court or some other justiciary power that happens to exist to do so, only then can they possibly be smacked down. A court could effectively sentence somebody to whatever they want, for example. It can be ruled cruel and unusual punishment, but you have to appeal the case before it is deemed to be cruel and unusual punishment. A court can effectively say, I'm sentencing you to the stretching rack. Well, automatic appeal, you're not actually going on the rack. They've made that sentence. It's technically legally binding until it's appealed. So don't worry about it too much. Trump is probably not going into a prison cell. He'll probably be in the White House fairly soon, thankfully. Dusty Shekel, keep up the great work. Shout out for the shekelshop.com. Joe, when you walk into a room and forget what you went in there for, it could be because you saw an alien who had temporarily wiped your memory, just for your information. Yeah, or the Men in Black were in there. You know, Will Smith was in the room. Flashy thing. The Dr. JS, those hoping that Trump is convicted for obvious political reasons should remember that this behavior used to be akin to communism instead of America. Absolutely true. It is Eastern Germany style tactics that are going on right now. So we'll briefly get to Berkowitz. Yes, Berkowitz, the 44 caliber killer, he is not going to be paroled. I'm so goddamn surprised that they didn't decide to parole the dude that killed half a dozen people with a 44. This is my opinion. If somebody is that uniquely and definitionally dangerous to society, it doesn't really matter if they're a reformed prisoner. By all accounts, Berkowitz has been a reformed prisoner now for more than 4 decades. It's sort of like Tex Watson. Tex Watson, Manson family member, actually physically involved with the Tate LaBianca murders, unlike Charlie himself, who is dead now. I don't talk about him as much anymore. It's like, shrug your shoulders. Miscarriage of justice, yes. Important now? Not really. Tex Watson is still in prison, and he deserves to be. But he's been a model prisoner since the 1970s. He's a prison minister. He does all sorts of stuff. He keeps himself busy. He's got, as far as I know, no behavioral infractions for the better part of a half a century. But if he were to get out, even in advanced age, there's still the possibility that he pops off. He might just immediately go looking for drugs and say, well, you know, I might be old now, but I can still enjoy this acid. Yeah, that'd be real great. Berkowitz, the son of Sam, likewise, has been psychologically reformed. He's also changed his mind on his testimony a number of times. That makes me suspicious. His original story about a dog with the devil possessing it, talking to him and telling him to kill his neighbors, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and he's largely walked it back. He's trying to appear sane. Maybe he is. But what's the cost to society if you let somebody out and then they immediately grab a butcher's knife? That's basically the long and short of it. I don't believe in the death penalty, but for some people, I do believe in life imprisonment. If there's that much risk to society, of violent crimes, specifically violent, usually murder, and a pattern of behavior, no, I wouldn't grant parole either. Oh, you've been a model prisoner. You work in the kitchen and you volunteer to sweep the floors. That's great. Wonderful. I'm glad you're having a good time in prison. Continue enjoying it. Felix Fanboy Rico, Styx is my gay boyfriend in another timeline. Yes, my apologies, but I am super straight. I am completely uninterested in anything with a Y chromosome. Let's see. All right, please send no more super chats, by the way, because I've got, God, there's been more than 40 of them just on YouTube. I got a bunch over here on Rumble, and I still want to do the verdict watch thing. Have King of Biltong, good morning from Anton's Meat and Eat. Free shipping for your biltong using code STICKS on biltongusa.com and antonsusa.com. I'll be eating some more of that in a little bit, by the way. Try our variety of Carmine functional red teas imported from South Africa. Clank. Challenger 1911. Been watching since 2013, Tarl. Oh, an OG clanker. You've been quite an inspiration for me over the last few years. I'm thinking about starting uploading more GunTube videos on my channel at Reaper1911 on YouTube. Love ya. Sounds cool. Have to check it out. Sigil Stone. There's what a judge is supposed to do or not do, and what they'll do anyway. Yeah, there's the rub. There was a judge in Ohio that was putting prosecutors on trial and acting as judge and prosecutor. I'll DM you a video. Doesn't surprise me. It's sad. They can get away with pretty much anything in their own courtroom until they're overruled. And then, of course, you got to have the money and the time to appeal. That's why a lot of times people just take they take a plea deal or something. Don't want to go through it. Wasted Bonehead Sticks. De Niro might be right about New York bursting into flames. How many of these leftists will lose their absolute shit if Trump is reelected? Fiery but peaceful, of course. Well, I mean, he's right on that count. Yeah, I guess. Sigil Stone. The Ohio judge wasn't even charged for her massive judicial misconduct, just for forging signatures. Bonehead said, fuck the Penguins. What else could that mean? And then the artist formerly known as Prince was a Jehovah's Witness. Yeah, and he was an asshole, too. Talented. He was known to have some weird proclivities. He was also an addict. Wasted Bonehead. The picture below the sentence, fuck them Penguins, gives full context. Sigil is blowing this out of proportion. He's the furry, not me. Cat Cans. Have you heard of Brother Nathaniel? Yes, I have. A controversial Orthodox Christian figure, and former Jew, by the way, who is critical of the juice and globalists in our world. He is starting a show on Rumble in June. He is wild. I've watched some of his stuff. Yeah, I mean, he seems intelligent. I don't agree with all of his views, but there's people like that. It's like they're a lightning rod for censorship, and the customary thing to do is throw him under the bus, right? And say, well, I disavow them. I disavow Brother Nathaniel because he doesn't like Jews or something like that. I don't give a fuck what his opinion is. Let him speak. If I have a problem with him, I'll debate him or something like that. Sigil Stone. Oh, Bonehead doesn't want to fuck penguins in general. Just that group in particular. My bad. Wasted. Stick. Shout out my penguin post on Twitter so people can judge for themselves. Sigil. Did you watch Dankula's new video and Fleece Johnson, a.k.a. the Booty Warrior? Did not know that guy was free, and don't call him the Booty Warrior. He fucking hates it. Again, please don't send any more super chats here. I'm going to take a look at the verdict watch. I don't think I'm going to get to the porcupine story, sadly. It's about divergence between porcupines on several continents, basically. So that's the news in a nutshell. Maybe I'll get to it tomorrow. Sigil Stone. No, shout out my Twitter. I need more followers to overtake Bonehead. Joe says balls. Sir Links, you still think Israel should be the 51st state? I think that subjugating them as a territory would probably stop the war that's going on over there. And we get a lot of moolah out of it. Lots of offshore oil in the Gaza region. Adam Smith, nobody is gay for Mole Man. There was an animal in the garden the other day. I think it might have been a fox, and I think it was predating upon moles. It didn't destroy any plants. It must have eaten something. It didn't eat the plants, so it wasn't an herbivore. It had to be carnivorous. Send your faces. Please send more super chats. I will stay indoors. And Felix Fanboy Rico, Daddy, don't tell me what to do. Another super chat. And get a spanking. You might enjoy that too much. Yeah. Anyway, I am going to go offline. I thank you to the, over 5,000 people that watched live. I will be keeping an eye on the Trump verdict thing. There's actually a live video here now as well. It's probably CNN, I guess. Oh, and it's full of ads, of course. Well, if you're seeing an ad, then you don't have to worry about the verdict having come in. So I'll be keeping an eye on that, and I'll get that out as quickly as possible once a verdict comes in. But I also have to do some weeding. The Swiss chart ain't going to take care of itself. So, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with news. It'll probably tomorrow. If there's no verdict today, tomorrow we're on Verdict Watch. There probably will be, if there is a verdict today, we'll be hyper-analyzing every aspect of it tomorrow, probably. So, yeah, tune in tomorrow. It'll be a good time had by all. Maybe I'll eat an MRE while I sit there and, think about Donald Trump and what the fuck is going to go on with the election, because it's already a double doozy, and it's only May. That's about all. Peace out.